Shalom, and welcome back to the Cepher Daily Readings. All praise and glory to the Most High Yah in the name of the Son, Yahushua HaMashiach. I am Trish. Thank you so much for stopping by to follow along. We are in Jubilees, Yovheliym, chapter 4. And in the third week, in the second Jubilee, she gave birth to Canaan. And in the fourth, she gave birth to Habel. And in the fifth, she gave birth to her daughter, Awan.
And in the first year of the third Jubilee, Canaan slew Habel.
Because Elohim accepted the sacrifice of Habel, and did not accept the offering of Cain. And he slew him in the field, and his blood cried from the ground to heaven, complaining because he had slain him. And Yahuwah reproved Canaan because of Habel, because he had slain him, and he made him a fugitive on the earth because of the blood of his brother, and he cursed him upon the earth. And on this account it is written on the heavenly tablets, Cursed is he who smites his neighbor treacherously, and let all who have seen and heard say, So be it. And the man who has seen and not declared it, let him be accursed as the other. And for this reason, we announce when we come upon Yahuwah Elohinu, all the sin which is committed in heaven and on earth, and in light, and in darkness, and everywhere. And Adam and his woman mourned for Habel 4 weeks of years, and in the fourth year, the fifth week, they became joyful, and Adam knew his woman again, and she bore him a son, and he called his name Sheth. For he said, Yahuwah has raised up a second seed unto us on the earth instead of Habel, for Cain slew him. And in the sixth week he begat his daughter Azurah. And Cain took Awan his sister to be his woman, and she bore him Hanok at the close of the fourth Jubilee. And in the first year, the first week of the fifth Jubilee, houses were built on the earth, and Cain built a city, and called its name after the name of his son Hanok. And Adam knew Hawa his woman, and she bore yet 9 sons. And in the fifth week of the fifth Jubilee, Sheth took Azurah his sister to be his woman. And in the fourth year of the sixth week, she bore him Enosh. He began to call on the name of Yahuwah on the earth. And in the seventh Jubilee, in the third week, Enosh took Noam his sister to be his woman. And she bore him a son in the third year of the fifth week, and he called his name Canaan. And at the close of the eighth Jubilee, Canaan took Mu'uleleth his sister to be his woman, and she bore him a son in the ninth Jubilee, in the first week in the third year of this week, and he called his name Mahalalel. And in the second week of the 10th Jubilee, Mahalalel took unto him to be his woman Dinah, the daughter of Barakiel, the daughter of his father's brother. And she bore him a son in the third week in the 6th year, and he called his name Yered. For in his days the angels of Yahuwah descended on the earth, those who are named the Watchers, that they should instruct the children of men, and that they should do judgment and uprightness on the earth. And in the 11th Jubilee, Yered took to himself a woman, and her name was Barakah, the daughter of Razuyal, a daughter of his father's brother, in the fourth week of this Jubilee. And she bore him a son in the fifth week, in the fourth year of the Jubilee, and he called his name Hanok. And he was the first among men that are born on earth who learned writing and knowledge and wisdom, and who wrote down the signs of heaven according to the order of their months in a Cepher, that men might know the seasons of the years according to the order of their separate months. And he was the first to write a testimony, and he testified to the sons of men among the generations of the earth, and recounted the weeks of the Jubilees, and made known to them the days of the years, and set in order the months, and recounted the Shabbats of the years as we made them known to him. And what was and what will be he saw in the vision of his sleep, as it will happen to the children of men throughout their generations until the day of judgment. He saw and understood everything, and wrote his testimony, and placed the testimony on earth for all the children of men and for their generations. And in the 12th Jubilee, in the 7th week thereof, he took to himself a woman, and her name was Edna, the daughter of Dan-el, the daughter of his father's brother. And in the 6th year, in this week, she bore him a son, and he called his name Methushelach. And he was moreover with the angels of Elohim these 6 jubilees of years, and they showed him everything which is on earth and in the heavens, the rule of the sun, and he wrote down everything. And he testified to the watchers who had sinned with the daughters of men, for these had begun to unite themselves, so as to be defiled with the daughters of men, and Hanok testified against them all. And he was taken from amongst the children of men, and we conducted him into the Garden of Eden in majesty and honor. And behold, there he writes down the condemnation and judgment of the world, and all the wickedness of the children of men. And on account of it, Elohim brought the waters of the flood upon all the land of Eden, for there he was set as a sign, and that he should testify against all the children of men, that he should recount all the deeds of the generations until the day of condemnation. And he burnt the incense of the sanctuary, even sweet spices acceptable before Yahuwah on the mount. For Yahuwah has 4 places on the earth, the Garden of Eden, and the Mount of the East, and this mountain on which you are this day, Mount Sinai, and Mount Zion, which will be sanctified in the new creation for a sanctification of the earth. Through it will the earth be sanctified from all its guilt and its uncleanness throughout the generations of the world. And in the 14th Jubilee, Methushelach took unto himself a woman, Edna, the daughter of Azariel, the daughter of his father's brother, in the 3rd week, in the 1st year of this week. And he begat a son, and called his name Lamech. And in the 15th Jubilee, in the 3rd week, Lamech took to himself a woman, and her name was Betinos, the daughter of Barachiel, the daughter of his father's brother. And in this week she bore him a son, and called his name Noach, saying, This one will comfort me for my trouble, and all my work, and for the ground which Yahuwah has cursed. And at the close of the 19th Jubilee, in the 7th week, in the 6th year thereof, Adam died, and all his sons buried him in the land of his creation. And he was the first to be buried in the earth. And he lacked 70 years of 1,000 years. For 1,000 years are as one day in the testimony of the heavens, and therefore was it written concerning the tree of knowledge, On the day that you eat thereof you shall die. For this reason he did not complete the years of this day, for he died during it. At the close of this Jubilee, Cain was killed after him in the same year, for his house fell upon him, and he died in the midst of his house. And he was killed by its stones, for with a stone he had killed Habel, and by a stone was he killed in righteous judgment. For this reason it was ordained on the heavenly tablets, With the instrument with which a man kills his neighbor, with the same shall be he killed. After the manner for that he wounded him, in like manner shall they deal with him. And in the 25th Jubilee, Noach took to himself a woman, and her name was Amzarah, the daughter of Rachiel, the daughter of his father's brother. In the 1st year, in the 5th week, and in the 3rd year thereof, she bore him Shem. In the 5th year thereof, she bore him Ham. And in the 1st year, and in the 1st year, in the 6th week, she bore him Japheth. Chapter 5. And it came to pass, when the children of men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the angels of Elohim saw them on a certain year of this Jubilee, that they were beautiful to look upon, and they took themselves women of all whom they chose, and they bore unto them sons, and they were Naphthalim. And iniquity increased on the earth, and all flesh corrupted its way, alike men and cattle, and beasts and birds, and everything that walks on the earth, all of them corrupted their ways and their orders. And they began to devour each other. And iniquity increased on the earth, and every imagination of the thoughts of all men was thus evil continually. And Elohim looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt. And all flesh had corrupted its orders, and all that were upon the earth had wrought all manner of evil before his eyes. And he said that he would destroy man and all flesh upon the face of the earth which he had created. But Noach found grace before the eyes of Yahuwah. And against the angels whom he had sent upon the earth, he was exceedingly angry. And he gave commandment to root them out of all their dominion, and he bade us to bind them in the depths of the earth. And behold, they are bound in the midst of them, and are kept separate. And against their sons went forth a command from before his face, that they should be smitten with the sword, and be removed from under heaven. And he said, My ruach shall not always abide on man, for they also are flesh, and their days and their days shall be 120 years. And he sent his sword into their midst, and that each should slay his neighbor. And they began to slay each other, till they all fell by the sword, and were destroyed from the earth. And their fathers were witnesses of their destruction. And after this, they were bound in the depths of the earth forever, until the day of the great condemnation, when judgment is executed on all those who have corrupted their ways and their works before Yahuwah. And he destroyed all from their places, and there was not left one of them whom he judged not according to all their wickedness. And he made for all his works a new and righteous nature, so that they should not sin in their whole nature forever, but should be all righteous each in his kind always. And the judgment of all is ordained and written on the heavenly tablets in righteousness, even the judgment of all who depart from the path which is ordained for them to walk in. And if they walk not therein, judgment is written down for every creature and for every kind. And there is nothing in heaven, or on earth, or in light, or in darkness, or in Sheol, or in the depth, or in the place of darkness, which is not judged. And all their judgments are ordained and written and engraved. In regard to all he will judge, and great according to his greatness, and the small according to his smallness, and each according to his way. And he is not one who will regard the person of any, nor is he one who will receive gifts. If he says that he would execute judgment on each, if one gave everything that is on the earth, he will not regard the gifts or the person of any, nor accept anything at his hands, for he is a righteous judge. And of the children of Yasharel it has been written and ordained, if they turn to him in righteousness, he will forgive all their transgressions and pardon all their sins. It is written and ordained that he will show mercy to all who turn from all their guilt once each year. And as for all those who corrupted their ways and their thoughts before the flood, no man's person was accepted save that of Noach alone. For his person was accepted on behalf of his sons, whom Elohim saved from the waters of the flood on his account. For his heart was righteous in all his ways, according as it was commanded regarding him, and he had not departed from aught that was ordained for him. And Yahuwah said that he would destroy everything which was upon the earth, both men and cattle, and beasts, and fowls of the air, and that which moves on the earth. And he commanded Noach to make him an ark, that he might save himself from the waters of the flood. And Noach made the ark in all respects as he commanded him. In the 27th Jubilee of years, in the 5th week, in the 5th year, on the new moon of the 1st month. And he entered in the 6th year thereof, in the 2nd month, on the new moon of the 2nd month, till the 16th. And he entered, and all that we brought to him into the ark, and Yahuwah closed it from without on the 17th evening. And Yahuwah opened 7 floodgates of heaven, and the mouths of the foundations of the great deep, 7 mouths in number. And the floodgates began to pour down water from the heaven 40 days and 40 nights. And the foundations of the deep also sent up waters, until the whole world was full of water. And the waters increased upon the earth. 15 cubits did the waters rise above all the high mountains. And the ark was lifted up above the earth, and it moved upon the face of the waters. And the water prevailed on the face of the earth 5 months, 150 days. And the ark went and rested on the top of Lubar, one of the mountains of Ararat. And on the new moon, in the 4th month, the fountains of the great deep were closed, and the floodgates of heaven were restrained. And on the new moon of the 7th month, all the mouths of the abysses of the earth were opened, and the water began to descend into the deep below. And on the new moon of the 10th month, the tops of the mountains were seen. And on the new moon of the 1st month, the earth became visible. And the waters disappeared from above the earth in the 5th week, in the 7th year thereof. And on the 17th day, in the 2nd month, the earth was dry. And on the 27th thereof, he opened the ark, and sent forth from it beasts, and cattle, and birds, and every moving thing. Chapter 6. And on the new moon of the 3rd month he went forth from the ark, and built an altar on that mountain. And he made atonement for the earth, and took a kid, and made atonement by its blood for all the guilt of the earth. For everything that had been on it had been destroyed, save those that were in the ark with Noah. And he placed the fat thereof on the altar, and he took an ox, and a goat, and a sheep, and kids, and salt, and a turtle dove, and the young of a dove, and placed an ascending smoke sacrifice on the altar, and poured thereon an offering mingled with oil, and sprinkled wine, and strewed frankincense over everything, and caused a goodly savor to arise, acceptable before Yahuwah. And Yahuwah smelled the goodly savor, and he cut a covenant with him, that there should not be any more a flood to destroy the earth, that all the days of the earth seed time and harvest should never cease. Cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night should not change their order, nor cease forever. And you, increase you and multiply upon the earth, and become many upon it, and be a blessing upon it. The fear of you and the dread of you I will inspire in everything that is on earth and in the sea. And behold, I have given unto you all beasts and all winged things, and everything that moves on the earth, and the fish in the waters, and all things for food. As the green herbs, I have given you all things to eat. But flesh, with the life thereof, with the blood, you shall not eat. For the life of all flesh is in the blood, lest your blood of your lives be required. At the hand of every man, at the hand of every beast, will I require the blood of man. Whoso sheds man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed. For in the image of Elohim he made man. And you, increase you and multiply on the earth. And Noah and his sons swore that they would not eat any blood that was in any flesh. And he cut a covenant before Yahuwah Elohim forever throughout all the generations of the earth in this month. On this account he spoke to you that you should cut a covenant with the children of Yasharel in this month upon the mountain with an oath, and that you should sprinkle blood upon them because of all the words of the covenant, which Yahuwah made with them forever. And this testimony is written concerning you, that you should observe it continually, so that you should not eat on any day any blood of beasts or birds or cattle during all the days of the earth. And the man who eats the blood of beasts or of cattle, or of birds during all the days of the earth, he and his seed shall be rooted out of the land. And do you command the children of Yasharel to eat no blood, so that their names and their seed may be before Yahuwah Elohinu continually. And for this Torah there is no limit of days, for it is forever. They shall observe it throughout their generations, so that they may continue supplicating on your behalf with blood before the altar. Every day and at the time of morning and evening they shall seek forgiveness on your behalf, perpetually before Yahuwah, that they may guard it and not be rooted out. And he gave to Noach and his sons a sign that there should not again be a flood on the earth. He set his bow in the cloud for a sign of the eternal covenant, that there should not again be a flood on the earth to destroy it all the days of the earth. For this reason it is ordained and written on the heavenly tablets that they should celebrate the feast of Shavuot in this month once a year, to renew the covenant every year. And this whole feast was celebrated in heaven from the day of creation till the days of Noach, 26 jubilees and 5 weeks of years. And Noach and his sons observed it for 7 jubilees and 1 week of years, till the day of Noach's death. And from the day of Noach's death his sons did away with it, until the days of Abraham, and they ate blood. But Abraham observed it, and Yitzhak and Yaakov and his children observed it up to your days. And in your days the children of Yasharel forgot it, until you celebrated it anew on this mountain. And do you command the children of Yasharel to observe this feast in all their generations for a commandment unto them? 1 day in the year, in this month, they shall celebrate the feast. For it is the feast of Shavuot, and the feast of first fruits of the wheat harvest. This feast is twofold, and of a double nature, according to what is written and engraved concerning it. Celebrate it. For I have written in the Cepher of the first Torah, in that which I have written for you, that you should celebrate it in its season, 1 day in the year. And I explained to you its sacrifices, that the children of Yasharel should remember and should celebrate it throughout their generations in this month, 1 day in every year. And on the new moon of the first month, and on the new moon of the 4th month, and on the new moon of the 7th month, and on the new moon of the 10th month are the days of remembrance, and the days of the seasons in the 4 divisions of the year. These are written and ordained as a testimony forever. And Noach ordained them for himself as feasts for the generations forever, so that they have become thereby a memorial unto him. And on the new moon of the 1st month he was bidden to make for himself an ark. And on that day the earth became dry, and he opened the ark and saw the earth. And on the new moon of the 4th month the mouths of the depths of the abyss beneath were closed. And on the new moon of the 7th month of all the mouths of the abysses of the earth were opened, and the waters began to descend into them. And on the new moon of the 10th month the tops of the mountains were seen, and Noach was glad. And on this account he ordained them for himself as feasts for a memorial forever. And thus are they ordained. And they placed them on the heavenly tablets. Each had 13 weeks. From one to another passed their memorial, from the 1st to the 2nd, and from the 2nd to the 3rd, and from the 3rd to the 4th. And all the days of the commandment will be 52 weeks of days, and these will make the entire year complete. Thus it is engraved and ordained on the heavenly tablets, and there is no neglecting this commandment for a single year or from year to year. And command you the children of Yasharel that they observe the years according to this reckoning 364 days. And these will constitute a complete year, and they will not disturb its time from its day and from its feasts. For everything will fall out in them according to their testimony, and they will not leave out any day nor disturb any feasts. But If they do neglect and do not observe them according to his commandment, then they will disturb all their seasons, and the years will be dislodged from this order. And they will disturb the seasons, and the years will be dislodged, and they will neglect their ordinances. And all the children of Yasharel will forget, and will not find the path of the years, and will forget the new moons, and seasons, and Shabbats, and they will go wrong as to all the order of the years. For I know, and from henceforth will I declare it unto you. And it is not of my own devising, for the Cepher lies written before me, and on the heavenly tablets the division of days is ordained, lest they forget the feasts of the covenant, and walk according to the feasts of the other nations after their error and after their ignorance. For there will be those who will assuredly make observations of the moon, how it disturbs the seasons, and comes in from year to year 10 days too soon. For this reason the years will come upon them, when they will disturb the order, and make an abominable day the day of testimony, and an unclean day a feast day. And they will confound all the days, the holy with the unclean, and the unclean day with the holy. For they will go wrong as to the months, and Shabbats, and feasts, and Jubilees. For this reason I command and testify to you, that you may testify to them. For after your death, your children will disturb them, so that they will not make the year 364 days only. And for this reason they will go wrong as to the new moons and seasons and Shabbats and feasts, and they will eat all kinds of blood with all kinds of flesh. Chapter 7. And in the 7th week, in the 1st year thereof, in this Jubilee, Noach planted vines on the mountain on which the ark had rested, named Lubar, one of the Ararat mountains, and they produced fruit in the 4th year, and he did guard their fruit, and gathered it in this year in the 7th month, and he made wine therefrom, and put it into a vessel, and kept it until the 5th year, until the 1st day, and on the new moon of the 1st month, and he celebrated with joy the day of this feast. And he made an ascending smoke sacrifice unto Yahuwah, 1 young ox and 1 ram, and 7 sheep, each a year old, and a kid of the goats, that he might make atonement thereby for himself and his sons. And he prepared the kid first, and placed some of its blood on the flesh that was on the altar which he had made, and all the fat he laid on the altar where he had made the ascending smoke sacrifice, and the ox, and the ram, and the sheep, and he laid all their flesh upon the altar, and he placed all their offerings mingled with oil upon it, and afterwards he sprinkled wine on the fire which he had previously made on the altar, and he placed incense on the altar, and caused a sweet savor to ascend acceptable before Yahuwah Elohim. And he rejoiced and drank this wine, he and his children, with joy. And it was evening, and he went into his tent. And being drunk, he lay down and slept, and was uncovered in his tent as he slept. And Ham saw Noach his father naked, and went forth, and told his 2 brethren without. And Shem took his garment, and arose, he and Japheth. And they placed the garment on their shoulders, and went backward, and covered the shame of their father, and their faces were backward. And Noach awoke from his sleep, and knew all that his younger son had done unto him. And he cursed his son, and said, Cursed be Canaan, or cursed be Canaan. An enslaved servant shall he be unto his brethren. And he blessed Shem, and said, Blessed be Yahuwah Elohim of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. Elohim shall enlarge Japheth, and Elohim shall dwell in the dwelling of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. And Ham knew that his father had cursed his younger son, and he was displeased that he had cursed his son. And he parted from his father, he and his sons with him, Cush and Mitzrayim, and Put and Canaan. And he built for himself a city and called its name after the name of his woman, Naal-lata-muak. And Japheth saw it and became envious of his brother. And he too built for himself a city, and he called its name after the name of his woman, Adatan-esis. And Shem dwelt with his father Noach, and he built a city close to his father on the mountain. And he too called its name after the name of his woman, I'm going to try to pronounce this one, Sedeketillabab. And behold, these 3 cities are near Mount Lubar. Sedeketillabab, fronting the mountain on its east, and Na-el-Mauk on the south, Adatanesis towards the west. And these are the sons of Shem, Eliam, and Ashashur, and Arphaxad. This son was born 2 years after the flood, and Ludi and Aram. The sons of Japheth, Gomer, and Magog, and Medai, and Yaban, and Tubal, and Meshech, and Tirak. These are the sons of Noach. And in the 28th Jubilee, Noach began to enjoin upon his sons the ordinances and commandments, and all the judgments that he knew. And he exhorted his sons to observe righteousness, and to cover the shame of their flesh, and to bless their Creator, and honor father and mother, and love their neighbor, and guard their souls from fornication, and uncleanness, and all iniquity. For owing to these 3 things came the flood upon the earth, namely, owing to the fornication wherein the watchers against the Torah of their ordinances went a whoring after the daughters of men, and took themselves women of all which they chose. And they made the beginning of uncleanness. And they begat sons, the Nephilim, and they were all unlike, and they devoured one another. And the Nephilim slew the Nephil, and the Nephil slew the Elyo, and the Elyo mankind, and one man another. And everyone sold himself to work iniquity and to shed much blood. And the earth was filled with iniquity. And after this they sinned against the beasts and birds and all that moves and walks on the earth. And much blood was shed on the earth. And every imagination and desire of men imagined vanity and evil continually. And Yahuwah destroyed everything from off the face of the earth because of the wickedness of their deeds. And because of the blood which they had shed in the midst of the earth, he destroyed everything. And we were left, I and you, my sons, and everything that entered with us into the ark. And behold, I see your works before me, that you do not walk in righteousness. For in the path of destruction you have begun to walk, and you are parting one from another, and are envious one of another. And so it comes that you are not in harmony, my sons, each with his brother. For I see, and behold, the demons have begun their seductions against you, and against your children. And now I fear on your behalf, that after my death you will shed the blood of men upon the earth, and that you too will be destroyed from the face of the earth. For whoso sheds man's blood, and whoso eats the blood of any flesh, shall all be destroyed from the earth. And there shall not be left any man that eats blood, or that sheds the blood of man on the earth, nor shall there be left to him any seed or descendants living under heaven. For into Sheol shall they go, and into the place of condemnation shall they descend, and into the darkness of the deep shall they all be removed by a violent death. There shall be no blood seen upon you. Of all the blood there shall be all the days in which you have killed any beasts or cattle, or whatsoever flies upon the earth, and work you a good work to your souls by covering that which has been shed on the face of the earth. And you shall not be like him who eats with blood, but guard yourselves that none may eat blood before you. Cover the blood, for thus have I commanded to testify to you and your children together with all flesh. And suffer not the soul to be eaten with the flesh, that your blood, which is your life, may not be required at the hand of any flesh that sheds it on the earth. For the earth will not be clean from the blood which has been shed upon it. For only through the blood of him that shed it will the earth be purified throughout all its generations. And now, my children, hearken, work judgment and righteousness, that you may be planted in righteousness over the face of the whole earth, and your glory lifted up before my Elohim, who saved me from the waters of the blood. And behold, you will go and build for yourselves cities, and plant in them all the plants that are upon the earth, and moreover all fruit-bearing trees. For 3 years the fruit of everything that is eaten will not be gathered, and in the 4th year its fruit will be accounted holy. And they will offer the first fruits acceptable before El Elyon, who created heaven and earth and all things. Let them offer in abundance the first of the wine and oil as first fruits on the altar of Yahuwah, who receives it, and what is left let the servants of the house of Yahuwah eat before the altar which receives it. And in the 5th year make you the release, so that you release it in righteousness and uprightness, and you shall be righteous, and all that you plant shall prosper. For thus did Hanok, the father of your father, command Methushelach his son, and Methushelach his son Lamech, and Lamech commanded me all the things which his fathers commanded him. And I also will give you commandment, my sons, as Hanok commanded his son in the first Jubilees. While still living, the 7th in his generation, he commanded and testified to his son and to his son's sons until the day of his death. That is the end of chapter 7. Okay. Psalms, Tehilliym, chapter 49. To the chief musician, a mizmor for the sons of Korach. Hear this, all you people. Give ear, all you inhabitants of the world, both low and high, rich and poor together. My mouth shall speak of wisdom, and the meditation of my heart shall be of understanding. I will incline my ear to a parable. I will open my dark saying upon the harp. Wherefore should I fear in the days of evil, when the iniquity of my heels shall compass me about? They that trust in their wealth and boast themselves in the multitude of their riches, none of them can by any means redeem his brother, nor give to Elohim a ransom for him. For the redemption of their soul is precious, and it ceases forever. That he should still live forever and not see corruption. For he sees that wise men die. Likewise the fool and the brutish person perish, and leave their wealth to others. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. Nevertheless, man being in honor abides not. He is like the beasts that perish. This their way is their folly. Yet their posterity approves their sayings. Selah. Like sheep they are laid in Sheol. Death shall feed on them. And the Yasharim shall have dominion over them in the morning, and their beauty shall consume in Sheol from their dwelling. But Elohim will redeem my soul from the power of Sheol, for he shall receive me. Selah. Be not afraid when one is made rich, when the glory of his house is increased. For when he dies, he shall carry nothing away. His glory shall not descend after him. Though while he lived, he blessed his soul, and men will praise you when you do well to yourself. He shall go to the generation of his fathers. He shall never see light. Man that is in honor and understands not is like the beasts that perish. Hallelujah. Praise the Almighty Father. Thank you for this time. Thank you for your grace and mercy, Yahuwah. In the name of the Son, Yahushua HaMashiach. May this be a blessing to you. May it glorify the Father, and may you be fostering that relationship with the Father. Cry out to him. Repent and humble yourself. Seek him out. Seek the word and study. Thank you. Yah willing, I will see you tomorrow. Shalom.